All right, retail strategy students, welcome. For this case study, we are deconstructing a brand that is, let's be honest, absolutely everywhere. Lay's. But we're going to challenge the big assumption that its success is all about taste. We're going to argue it's not really about what's inside the bag, but the incredible strategy that puts that bag, well, everywhere. Let's just start with this quote because, really, it's the whole thesis right here. This is the key that unlocks the entire Lay's strategy. For decades, their success hasn't been about winning blind taste tests. Nope. It's been about a relentless, incredibly deliberate focus on sheer, inescapable presence. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we're going to dismantle that whole product-first idea. Then we'll go back in time to the very beginning of their distribution model. After that, we'll see how they pull off this magic trick of being both global and local. And finally, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how they engineer that split-second decision to buy. Let's jump in. Okay, so first things first, let's get our framework straight. We're moving way beyond the simple question of, hey, is this a good chip? We're digging into the much more complex system that puts that chip into millions of hands every single hour of every single day. And here is the core psychological truth you have to grasp. The snack aisle is not driven by logic. It's all impulse. Think about it. How many people actually write potato chips on a grocery list? Almost no one. It's an emotional, right here, right now decision. And Lay's didn't just get this. They built their entire global empire on mastering that one single moment of craving. So let's talk about how this all started. Because this whole be everywhere strategy, it wasn't some happy accident that happened once they got big. It was intentionally hardwired into the brand's DNA from day one. This timeline really shows you the long game that Lay's has been playing. It starts way back in the 1930s. The founder, Herman Lay, was building relationships with retailers right from the trunk of his car. See, his focus wasn't just on the product itself. It was on access. Then you get the absolute masterstroke in 1965, merging with PepsiCo. This created a beast of a shared distribution network that paved the way for the total market saturation we see today. Let's just put a formal name on this, because it's the strategic moat that protects the Lay's castle. Distribution dominance. It means that wherever you, the consumer, might suddenly feel a snack craving, a supermarket, a little corner store, a gas station, a movie theater, Lay's isn't just there, it's the most visible option. It basically neutralizes the competition before you even have a chance to make a choice. But look, being everywhere is only half the battle, right? You have to actually have the right product when you get there. And this is where Lay's combines its massive global scale with some incredibly sharp local intelligence. This slide nails their globalization strategy. Take the Indian market, for instance. Instead of just trying to push a plain salted chip, they developed flavors like magic masala. This wasn't just a new flavor, it became an icon. It's how a giant global corporation manages to feel like a familiar local brand you grew up with. And this is the strategic tightrope they walk so well. On one side, you've got the immense power of a global brand, that iconic yellow bag, the logo, the quality you can count on anywhere in the world. But on the other side, you've got the smarts of a local player, flavors made for specific palates, marketing that actually connects with the culture, and deep consumer insights. It's truly the best of both worlds. And now for the final piece of the puzzle. This is where the distribution and the localization all come together, right there on the shelf to trigger that split-second emotional purchase we talked about at the beginning. This pricing architecture is just brilliant. It's not about one single price. It's about making sure there is never a reason to say no. The little 5 rupee pack, that's to get you to try it. The 10 rupee pack, that's the sweet spot, the main impulse buy. And the bigger packs, they're all about increasing how much you buy in one go. There is literally a Lay's for every pocket and every possible occasion. And this chart, wow, this visualizes the result of all that distribution muscle. In the war for your eyeballs, Lay's wins by a total knockout. Walk into a typical store, and Lay's just takes up more physical and visual space than its competitors. And in the world of impulse buys, guess what? What you see first is almost always what you buy. So here's the psychological layer they spread on top of all the logistics. Their marketing. Notice how it almost never talks about the taste or the crunch of the chip. It's all about the experience. Parties, friends, family, fun. They're selling you a positive emotion. They're creating an association that gets triggered the second you see that yellow bag in the store.
So when you boil it all down, it's these three pillars working together in a perfect, reinforcing cycle. Because it's always there, you always see it. And because the branding is so powerful, you always recognize it. This system makes it unbelievably difficult for any competitor to break through, even if they claim to have a better tasting product.
Okay, so we've deconstructed the whole case. We have seen how logistics, localization, and psychology come together to build an absolute empire. Now, let's pull all this together into one final, big strategic question for you all to take away and really chew on. As you all move forward to build and manage brands, this is the core tension you will always be dealing with, especially in consumer goods. Is long-term strength found in creating these globally consistent icons, or is it about mastering deep, authentic local adaptation? Lay's makes a very strong case for a delicate balance of both. But the question for you is, if you had to place your bet on one for the future, which strategy really holds the key to sustainable growth? That's your case to debate.